The Galactic Council had watched Earth for 300 years. They observed the small blue planet spinning quietly in an unremarkable corner of the galaxy. The humans seemed primitive. They fought wars over land and resources. They polluted their own atmosphere. They had not even left their solar system yet. The council members often laughed about the strange creatures who called themselves intelligent but still killed each other over invisible lines drawn on maps. Ambassador Vexter of the Karani Empire stood before the council chamber. His 4 eyes blinked slowly as he presented his report. The Karani had been studying humans more closely than any other species. They had sent invisible probes to Earth. They had intercepted human communications. They had even abducted a few specimens over the centuries for biological study. The humans are weak, Vexter announced confidently. Their bodies break easily. They cannot survive in extreme temperatures. They need constant oxygen, water, and food. They sleep for 8 hours every rotation cycle. They are perhaps the most fragile species we have ever encountered. The council members nodded their various heads and appendages in agreement. The Zilfran delegate made a sound that passed for laughter among his kind. The Mortith representative scratched notes into her data tablet with her sharp claws. "We recommend initiating contact," Vexter continued. "The humans have resources we need. Their planet contains rare minerals. Their solar system has 3 gas giants perfect for fuel harvesting. We propose a standard integration protocol. They will be offered membership in the Galactic Union as a worker species." Nobody objected. The vote passed unanimously. A diplomatic vessel was dispatched to Earth. The humans reacted exactly as expected. They were shocked, frightened, and curious all at once. World leaders gathered in emergency sessions. Religious groups proclaimed the end times. Scientists celebrated the confirmation of extraterrestrial life. Within weeks, a human delegation was brought aboard the Galactic Union's Central Station to begin negotiations. Admiral Karth of the Union Fleet was assigned to oversee the integration process. He was a decorated warrior from the Vexen species, standing 3 meters tall with armored skin that could deflect most projectile weapons. He had conquered 12 worlds during his career. He expected the humans to be simple to manage. The human delegation consisted of 5 individuals. They seemed small and soft standing in the Great Hall. Their leader, a woman named Dr. Sarah Chun, spoke calmly despite the overwhelming circumstances. She asked questions about the union's structure, laws, and expectations. She took careful notes. She smiled politely, even when Admiral Korath explained that humans would serve primarily as laborers and technicians for more advanced species. "We understand," Dr. Chen said. "We have much to learn from you." The integration began smoothly. Human workers were transported to mining colonies across Union space. Human scientists were given access to basic galactic technology. Human diplomats were allowed to observe council sessions without voting rights. Everything proceeded according to the standard protocol that had worked on dozens of other primitive species. The first sign of trouble came 6 months later. A Karani research vessel was conducting routine mineral surveys near a human colony world when its engines failed. The ship drifted toward a nearby asteroid field. The crew sent distress signals, expecting a Union rescue team to arrive within days. Instead, a small human shuttle appeared within hours. The human pilot, a young man named James Walker, docked with the Karani vessel without authorization. He walked onto their bridge wearing nothing but a thin environmental suit. The Karani captain demanded to know what he was doing. "I'm here to fix your engine," James said simply. "That is impossible," the captain replied. "Our engine technology is far beyond human understanding. Our engineers require years of training." James shrugged. He walked to the engineering section, opened several panels that should have required specialized tools, and began working. The Karani engineers watched in confusion. The human was not following any repair protocol they recognized. He seemed to be improvising, connecting systems in ways that should not function. 3 hours later, the engines came back online. Not only had James fixed the original problem, but he had somehow improved the efficiency by 12%. The captain reported this incident to Union Command. It was filed away as an anomaly. Humans were creative, everyone agreed. They had a talent for mechanical work. That was why they made good laborers. More anomalies followed. A human security officer on a space station stopped a Zilthran theft ring that had operated undetected for 30 years. She noticed patterns in cargo movements that no Union investigator had ever identified. When asked how she did it, she explained that humans called it intuition. A human medic saved the life of a Mordith ambassador after an assassination attempt. The Mordith species was supposed to be biologically incompatible with human medical knowledge. The medic had never studied Mordith anatomy. She simply looked at the wounds and figured out what to do. A human navigator calculated a new route through a dangerous nebula that cut travel time by 40%. Union cartographers had spent centuries mapping that region. They had declared the route impossible. The navigator solved it during his lunch break because he found the existing maps boring. Admiral Korath began requesting more detailed reports on human activities. What he discovered disturbed him deeply. Human workers were not just completing their assigned tasks. They were improving Union technology everywhere they went. They asked questions that Union scientists had never considered. They proposed solutions to problems that had been accepted as unsolvable for millennia. They worked longer hours than any other species and complained about being bored when given rest periods. The biological reports were even more troubling. The original assessment had been correct. Humans were physically fragile. Their bodies could be damaged by almost anything. But the researchers had missed something crucial. Humans healed. They recovered from injuries that would kill members of other species. Their immune systems adapted to new diseases within days. Their bones grew stronger after breaking. Their muscles rebuilt themselves larger after being torn. And then there was the matter of human reproduction. The Union's standard population control measures were not working. Human birth rates remained high despite the harsh conditions of labor colonies. Human children matured faster than expected. A generation that should have taken decades to develop was already reaching adulthood. The human population across Union space had tripled in just 5 years. Admiral Korath called an emergency session of the Galactic Council. "We have made a serious miscalculation," he announced. His voice carried none of his usual confidence. "The humans are not a primitive species suitable for integration. They are something else entirely." He presented his evidence. The council members watched in growing alarm. The Korani ambassador demanded clarification. "You were saying humans are more intelligent than us." "No," Korath replied. "Their average intelligence is comparable to most Union species. But their capability for learning and adaptation is beyond anything in our records. They do not simply accept knowledge. They transform it. They improve it. They apply it in ways we cannot predict." The Zilthran delegate leaned forward. "What about their military capacity?" Korath pulled up historical records from Earth. Images of human warfare filled the chamber. Nuclear explosions, chemical weapons, biological agents, machines designed purely for destruction, strategies that involved acceptable losses of millions of lives. Humans have been fighting wars against each other for their entire existence, Korath explained. They have developed weapons capable of destroying their own planet multiple times over. They have survival instincts that override all rational thought. When threatened, they do not surrender. They do not negotiate. They fight until they win or until everything is destroyed. The chamber fell silent. "We brought them into our territory," the Mordith representative whispered. "We gave them access to our technology. We scattered them across our colonies," the Korani ambassador added. "They know the locations of our worlds, our supply routes, our defensive positions." Korath nodded grimly. "And we classified them as a worker species. We did not restrict their movements or communications. They have been sharing information freely among themselves for 5 years. The implications crashed over the council like a wave. 5 years of unrestricted access. Millions of humans spread across Union space. A species that learned faster than anyone had thought possible, that adapted to any environment, that bred rapidly, but never stopped improving. That had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war against opponents just as intelligent as themselves. The Galactic Union had conquered countless worlds. They had subdued hundreds of species. They had built an empire spanning a quarter of the galaxy. And they had just invited their greatest potential threat inside their borders, shown them everything, and taught them how galactic civilization worked. Dr. Sarah Chun was summoned before the council. She arrived alone, still wearing the simple uniform of a Union worker. She looked up at the assembled leaders of the galaxy without any visible fear. "You have questions," she said calmly. Admiral Korath stepped forward. "Did you know? When we first made contact, did you understand what you were?" Dr. Chun smiled. It was a gentle expression, but something in it made Korath's armored skin tighten involuntarily. "We have always known what we are," she replied. "We are survivors. We survived ice ages, plagues, famines, and wars that killed hundreds of millions. We survived weapons that could crack our planet open. We survived ourselves, which was the hardest test of all." She looked around the chamber at the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They commanded fleets that could glass entire worlds. They controlled technology that seemed like magic. They had ruled for longer than human civilization had existed. "You watched us fight our wars and saw weakness," Dr. Chun continued. "You saw us divided and struggling and concluded we were primitive. You never asked the important question." "What question?" Korath demanded. "You never asked why we were still alive. Every obstacle that should have destroyed us only made us stronger. Every challenge we faced, we overcame. Every time we reached our limit, we discovered we had no limit." Dr. Chun's voice remained soft, almost kind. "You invited us into your empire because you thought we would serve you. You gave us your knowledge because you thought we could never threaten you. You spread us across your territory because you did not understand what you were dealing with." The council chamber was utterly silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. "Humanity does not want war," Dr. Chun said. "We have seen enough war. We have caused enough suffering. What we want is peace, cooperation, and mutual growth. We want to be partners, not conquerors." She paused, letting her words sink in. "But if you try to contain us, control us, or destroy us, you will learn what we learned long ago. The universe is not kind. Survival is not guaranteed. And humanity will do whatever is necessary to ensure our children have a future." Dr. Chun turned and walked out of the chamber. Her footsteps echoed in the silence. The Galactic Council sat frozen in place. They had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. They had never known fear. They had never faced an enemy they could not defeat. Now they understood something terrible. They had not discovered a primitive species. They had awakened a sleeping giant. And that giant was already inside their walls, watching, learning, growing stronger every day. The panic that spread through the Union in the following weeks was unlike anything in recorded history. Emergency sessions were called. Military alerts were issued. Plans were drawn up and discarded. Nobody knew what to do. And somewhere in the vast network of human workers scattered across the galaxy, a quiet communication passed from colony to colony. A simple message that carried the weight of a promise. We are ready. Whatever comes next, humanity would face it together. Just as they always had. Just as they always would.